Hi, my name's Chad Miller, and today I wanted to tell you guys about how, when, and why you should change your air filter. Now, when most people come to think of automotive maintenance, they don't think of it as a cheap or an easy task to perform. However, changing your air filter is not only a simple task, it is also cost-effective and can be done easily at your own home with not a lot of tools or a lot of automotive experience. Now, first off, I want to tell you guys about why you should change your air filter. Just like a respirator you might wear at work, or an air filter in your house's HVAC system, an air filter in a car's engine helps block pollen, dirt, dust, dander, hair, anything that may find its way on the roads from getting into your car's engine. Now, when these particulates make their way into a car's engine, they can damage and hurt a number of different things. The first most common thing that gets damaged is your car's mass airflow sensor. This is a sensor that helps calculate the ratio of air to fuel in your engine for optimizing power as well as miles per gallon. When your filter gets clogged, it starts to suffocate the engine, and the mass airflow sensor has to calculate and make changes in the fuel delivery system to account for this change in airflow. Eventually, it'll get to a point where it cannot make up for this change, and you'll start to lose power, and from the loss of power, you'll begin to lose gas mileage. Your car will not run as efficient. A more serious thing that it can damage is the actual engine and the engine block itself. It can damage pistons, piston rings, the cylinder walls, head of the motor, etc. Damaging of any of these components will really overall lead to complete engine failure and the engine dying at some point. Now next, and almost more importantly than why you should change it, is how often you should change it. Most manufacturers recommend that you should change your oil between 30 and 50,000 miles. However, this is a little bit generous. Most people tend to change their air filter between 15 and 30,000 miles, or about 1 to 2 years of time. And it can be done on that early side of 15,000 miles or even earlier based on your driving conditions. If you drive a lot off-road in the mountains or you live in a rural area, you could change your air filter in as little as 5,000 miles and 3 months of time. If all you're doing is driving on the road, just highway miles, you can probably push it closer to that 30 or even the 50,000 mile mark and closer to 2 years. It all just depends on road conditions. Now last, I'd like to show you guys an example of how you change your air filter. Today I'm going to use my 1997 Jeep Cherokee as an example. And first off, before doing any automotive maintenance, you really want to give your car ample time to cool down so the engine is not hot and you don't burn yourself. This process usually takes about 15 to 30 minutes depending on how long the car was ran before, etc. First off, you must locate the air box within your engine bay. It's usually off to either side of the motor opposite the battery. Once you do locate your air box, you want to remove all hoses going to it, and that includes PCV hoses as well as the hose going from the air box into your intake manifold. The PCV hoses in this case just slide right off. There's a hose clamp that I've previously loosened on the intake tube, and that will just slide right off now as well. Next, there's usually a series of clips or screws that you'll need to undo to get the air filter out. My air box just has a series of clips, 1, 2, and 3, and then it merely just folds open. Now we finally have access to our air filter. And as you can see, this one is a little bit dirty and even has some metal shapings in it. Since it is obviously dirty, we're going to change this filter at this time. If we were just checking on it and it was fine, it is perfectly okay to put the filter back in the car and keep on driving. Putting in the new filter is just as easy as it is taking out the old one. All you have to do is slip the new filter inside of the engine bay and into the air box and reverse the steps. Put your air filter cover back on. Once the cover is back on, make sure you put in all of the screws and tighten back all of the clamps on, and then reattach your intake hose. After that, hook back up your PCV valve hose. Once everything is finally connected and sometimes broken, you are able to start back up your vehicle and see that everything runs fine. Should it run fine, you are done with your job and ready to go. If something is off, go back, repeat the process, and go through it, or seek help from a professional mechanic. So overall, changing your air filter is very simple, it's very easy, and it's a good way to prevent greater costs and further problems with your vehicle.